name is First Sergeant Pete. I'm with Taylor's Battery for Chicago Light Artillery Company B. We're here today at Fischer Farm in Bensenville, Illinois. And what you see in front of us here is a 10-pound replica Parrott rifle. It isn't an original, it's a replica, but it's a representation of what a real cannon in the Civil War would look like. It usually takes to run this piece a total of 6 individuals. There's 4 men working the piece. There is a gunner, which is usually a corporal. He's the one in charge of the gun. And we have another man, which is the powder runner, or powder monkey like they call. And then you would usually have 2 men working the back of the gun, which is called the limber. There are 4 positions on the gun. There's position number 1. What they use an implement which they call a sponge rammer. It has a sponge on the one side. It's got a rammer on the other side. It's got a hole on the end, which basically, when they were ramming the shell against the powder charge, because they used detonated fuses, when the number 1 man was ramming the charge down into the barrel, they didn't want to prematurely set the shell off. To load the weapon, when the gunner or the corporal would command load, the number 3 man would come up to the vent, which is a little hole on the end of the barrel, and his main function is to provide or prevent, any oxygen or air movement within the barrel, because if there was any leftover embers from the previous firing, you wouldn't want to fan it like you would fan a fire normally. After the command that load is given and the number 3 person steps up and plugs the vent, the number 2 person, who has the worm, would use this little corkscrew device. He would place it inside the barrel. You can do that, Ken, for me, please.
You normally stand here.
They would place it in, and what they do, since we use tin foil with a ½ pound of powder, obviously they didn't use this in the Civil War, but we as reenactors use that. We use this device to extract the leftover foil inside the barrel for safety reasons. So when we're ready to put the next round in after the cannon is fired, we don't have leftover material that would mistakenly be discharged from the end of the barrel. The number 2 man would extract the foil. He's going to step out. And then your number 1 man is going to dip the sponge inside the water. And he's going to do what we call a wet movement and a dry movement. He's done. So his first movement, he's going to bring the sponge to the back. He's going to extinguish any burning embers or flames inside the barrel. Then he's going to dry or shake the excess water. And now he's letting the gunner or the corporal know, which would be at the back of the gun, that we are ready for the round to be advanced. The gunner is going to command advance the charge. Joe, you want to just pretend you're bringing up some powder, just bring it up to... Okay. He's going to give it to the number 2 man, which is going to place the round inside. The number 1 man is now going to ram the charge home. He's going to nod me out. Once he gets in the ready position, the gunner is going to command ready. The number 3 man is going to come up with a device called a pick. And basically it's just a pointed object. When it's placed inside the vent of the barrel, it's going to pierce the powder bag or the round, and it's going to expose a hole in that powder. The number 4 man, who's in charge of the lanyard, is going to take a little device called a primer that's got a little tab on the end, and inside there's fulminated mercury. So when the lanyard is pulled, it's going to create a spark, ignite that mercury, which is going to ignite the powder and discharge the weapon. So he's going to place the primer inside. We're just going to steady it for him. Okay, he's going to nod me out. And when all the cannoneers are safely outside the wheel, the gunner is going to scan the field. The number 4 man is going to maintain eye contact with the gunner. He'll be usually stationed about right here, and he's going to command fire. Lanyard is pulled, and boom, the weapon is discharged. And then they keep going, repeating that process over and over and over. The old tin foil is extracted with the worm. We wet and dry the barrel. We pierce the new round as it's advanced. We set the primer in and refire the weapon.
How long normally does it take to go through that sequence in the Civil War?
A good cannon crew in the Civil War could fire three rounds per minute.
We actually did it 28 seconds. I timed it as our fastest. Now, we might have done faster, but that was the fastest I've ever timed. And that's using all safety precautions.
That's using all safety precautions, yes, which is our #1 priority